very high, and the hike, though it is continuing in... Oh no, Camille, it's happened. There's a snake. Is Mount Wank down at the German Alps near Garmisch-Partenkirchen the best beginner alpine summit from foot to peak? Well, there's only one way to find out. All right, so we've made it to Garmisch-Partenkirchen. It was a lovely train ride as ever, everything on time, though a little full, especially with those bicyclists. And you know, I've seen these views before, but damn if they don't hold up. Now then, how are we actually getting to Mount Wank? Well, the trailheads aren't here in Garmisch or Partenkirchen. Instead, they're about 30 minutes away, closer towards the mountains themselves, and you could walk it. It probably is a decently fine walk, but they have a bus for our convenience, leaving in about 15 minutes. It's synced up with the trains, so you have just enough time to get off, get yourself together, maybe run to the restroom, and then all aboard for Mount Wank. The bus stop itself is also just right around the corner, so no big deal there, and we're looking for bus number 5. Should be just a few more minutes. All right, so there's the line, and we're just gonna be walking right on by. Time to finally get to the trailheads. All right, so finding the trailhead was super easy, barely an inconvenience, as it's just right around back. And I've got to say, I'm feeling really excited. Skipping that line, I've never done it before. I've either gone hiking somewhere high up where you take the cable car to get there, kind of like Sechera or the Karwendelspitze, or we're sticking so low to the ground that nobody in their right mind will put a cable car there. But today, we're doing it. It's gonna be great. And really, that's the whole framing of this video, right? Is Mount Wank the best beginner summit? And so far, so good. I'm finding this sign really confusing. Does St. Anthony over here have a different kind of philosophy walk? I don't know. I hope we're choosing the right one. So as towards the specific trail that we're going to be using to summit Mount Wank, well, I don't really have one in mind. Something that's really important to know or remember about this whole area, especially on these lower lying hills, is that there's not really just one way of getting anywhere. There's always a spider web of crisscrossing paths that you can add, subtract, and choose your own adventure if you will. For example, I've decided to take a slightly less than direct route so that I could get that cool church panorama. And if you don't really care about that, well, you can get there faster than me by taking a more direct route. And I've got to say, I think that's yet another tick in the direction of being beginner friendly, because you've got options. So actually, this is a really good example of that mixing or matching methodology I was talking about. The trail behind me goes on for 1 to 2 kilometers, really low gradient, super gravelly, easy and grippy. But if you're like me, you can do the route we took. It was about 0.2 kilometers, way shorter, but a lot more steep and a lot muddier. It's all about just doing what you're in the mood for. Okay, I know what you've been thinking this whole video, and I'm gonna address it. I'm not gonna make a whole video on Mount Wank without addressing the wank in the room, which is the somewhat unfortunate or British pronunciation of this mountain. And I tell you what, it's not just the mountain. They've gone all in. There's a wank bus, there's the wank train, well, that's what they're calling the wank cable car. And when you get to the top, there's even the wank house. It actually just translates to slope in Old German, so it's a pretty boring name, all things considered. But there, we've addressed it. What's really cool though is that once you get to about the 3rd marker, you're greeted with this amazing alpine meadow. And I brought extra train snacks, so I'm gonna take a bit of a sit and relax and really enjoy this view, which I'd recommend you do as well. There's always something about the beginning of a hike that really tires me out more than the end of it, which is kind of weird. Maybe it's just my body getting used to all the exercise after sitting down all week. So for now, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna eat, fly the drone, and we're gonna get back on the trail and finish this thing off. right, guys, so we're about 35% of the way there now, hiking for nigh on an hour and 15 minutes. So what better time than now to talk about how difficult this hike really is, which is to say, not too bad. We've done about 300 meters of elevation and 3 kilometers in that hour, so I think that's a decent pace, especially considering we're recording. We're never really the fastest hikers, you guys know that. And what kind of alpine hike would it be if we weren't greeted by a bunch of lovely cows? Hey, buddy. They're so awesome, aren't they? Though I think this guy right here might be my favorite. He's got the right idea with that shade. All right, so I'd say we're well over halfway now. Spirits are still really high. Some things to note about the difficulty of this hike though. I mean, it's pretty much a consistent burn all the way up. There's no flat, it's all elevation the whole time. Roughly, I think I've mentioned 700 meters of it. I don't really think it makes things too difficult. What does make it difficult though, and something I'm starting to have trouble with, is timing and pacing. I just learned from some other hikers that the restaurant closes much sooner than I had anticipated. The kitchen will be closed at 4 o'clock. It's about 2 hours away now, and we've got 2 hours worth of hiking to do it by Alpine standards. So we're gonna need to be fast if we're gonna make it and have a good dinner. I think we can do it, but I'm gonna need to put the camera down and get going. Wish me luck. I think we've got this one in the bag. There's the restaurant, and we've got 10 minutes until the kitchen closes. The views on this hike have been absolutely astounding. The pace, a little grueling for me. I would have liked to have been a bit more leisurely. And so my recommendation for you all at home is you got to start your day, if it's going to be started in Munich, earlier than 9:30. I'd say the 8:30 train is going to be about as late as you're going to want to leave it if you want to be able to have a decent or slow, forgiving pace on these mountain hills. Because remember, we are trying to summit something after all. Maybe I should have started early. Sorry, Camille. Now, unfortunately, even though we arrived 10 minutes before the kitchen was supposed to close, they'd already closed it. Meaning the only thing we could actually get was beer, water, some soup, and cake. Which, you know, I'm not complaining. I would have probably ordered most of that stuff anyway. All right, and so there you have it, guys. This is my first ever Alpine summit, my first ever Alpine cross, and I'm pretty proud of it too. I mean, maybe Mount Wank is not the most difficult mountain of all the mountains around me, but still, going from foot to peak, that's something. And what has really meant a lot to me is to be able to share it with you guys. But if you don't mind, I am absolutely shattered and still kind of hungry after the cake and beer. I was hoping for something a bit more substantial. So I'm gonna be cheeky. I'm gonna grab the last gondola back down off this mountain, which is at 5 o'clock. Why does everything close so early around here? I don't understand. So just to make a quick summary, the kitchen closes a little bit earlier than 4, the restaurant itself kicks everyone out at 4:30, and the last gondola down is at 5. It really is a tight schedule. It is a bit of a shame that we're not gonna have a ton of time up here. I think if I was to do this again, I definitely would have forced myself to wake up earlier. However, it's not too bad. I saw a lot of amazing views while I was doing the hike, and to me, it was all about the summit today. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna be 100% cheeky today. The day is not over. I'm only gonna be 60% cheeky and illustrate yet another reason why this is such a great beginner summit. You see, the cable car isn't 1, it's 2. And so you can actually mix and match those tickets as you please. A lot of people that I've seen today took the cable car all the way up and hiked down. Or you could do what we're doing right now. taking the cable car only part of the way. I mean, I really wasn't feeling like walking all the way back down from the very top. So taking the cable car down to here, which is just above, if you remember that meadow from earlier, and then continuing the hike. What a fantastic way to be able to customize your day out. I love it.
Throughout this video, we've been referring to Mount Wank as a hill, sometimes as a mountain.
Right.
And it's kind of, I feel weird doing that, right? It's something in between.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a hill because that really diminishes what it is. I am very sweaty and tired. It's not a hill.
I would never say to my friends, like, oh, we walked up a hill on Saturday.
Yeah, but it's also not a mountain. Like a lot of Germans will seriously like hike these like, what 1,200 meter sort of mountains on the weekend casually.
Right.
Oftentimes I'll talk to some Germans and they'll be like, oh, what did you do on the weekend? They're like, oh, we went to Mount Wank. And they're like, oh, easy. Yeah, I've done that with my kids before. Yeah, simple.
Right.
And you actually told me something interesting a couple years ago when we were backpacking in the UK.
Right, and that's that in England, this is a solved problem. England does not have any mountains, but there's some good rambles, there's some good hikes, and you wouldn't call them hills. So a really cool dude, at least I hope he was, called Sir Hugh Munro, just wrote what he called the Munro Tables, where he categorized all of the coolest and best mountains, all the tallest mountains in the UK that you could hike, and from then on, we've just called them Munros. So anything over 3,000 feet, like what we did today, was about 3,600, I would just call that a Munro, but most people don't really know that word, and most people are also only used to hearing it in Scotland and to an extent the UK, but I say we go ahead and just globalize the word. If it's not a hill and it's not a mountain, it's a Munro.
Hey guys, so I think we're going to do the conclusions while we're walking down from Mount Wank rather than going home and recording later. This is just better, I think.
Yeah, just get it done while we've got the time.
Yeah, so I would wholeheartedly recommend hiking Mount Wank, especially if you're a beginner, and that is primarily because there are a lot of options that allow you flexibility, right? We showed you the gondola and all the different options you can do if you're feeling tired, if it's a little bit too much for you, etc., etc.
And the web of hikes that you can connect and rearrange.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm feeling really positively about this. What about you, Ben?
No, definitely. I think it was a really fantastic hike. I think 700 meters, it's enough that you feel really accomplished, but I also think it's something that most people can work to. I don't think we've shown a hike that, you know, is just out of anyone's league. You know what I mean?
Unlike Shrekse.
Oh my God. Now that was a hike I can't recommend for everybody. In terms of negatives, what are the drawbacks of today? I think there's only been one, and that is just the pacing required because of how early everything closes. And that's not Mount Wank's fault. That's something that is just common throughout the whole area. If you're traveling in Bavaria, things close early. All of our Garmisch-Partenkirchen videos have had that problem. You see, we go and we walk around, do all the amazing activities near the town, but I never actually include the town in those videos. And I'm not going to include it in this one either, because by the time we get there, everything's going to be shut but 1 or 2 restaurants, and that just doesn't make for great content. But I've got an idea. What I'd like to do is come back to Garmisch-Partenkirchen for a dedicated town village video where we talk all about the different amenities, restaurants, our favorite cafes, all the stuff that we really like about this place that we've never had time to cover in the other videos. We'll also probably spend a good amount of that time reminiscing over all the great trips that we've had in the area, recommending, maybe even talking about a bit of behind the scenes information as well. If you're interested in that video, like, comment, subscribe, all that normal stuff. Let me know it's worth making, and I'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
All right, so I'd say we're well over halfway now. Spirits are still very high, and the hike, though it is continuing in... Oh no, Camille, it's happened. There's a snake. Oh, Camille, there's a snake here. I'm looking at a snake. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Stop it. Comedy genius, everybody.